All right, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing this evening?
How are you?
All right, I gotta be straight with you. I'm a teacher, and I start class at 7:35 in the morning. And if I got that kind of response, you know what I do? Everyone, raise your hands. Now pull down all your fingers except your first two. Now take these two fingers, put it next to your neck. Now if you got pulse. Do we have any zombies? Yes. No zombies. A few zombies, maybe. All right, very good. So as I said, my name is Captain Freeman, and it's my pleasure to be your master of ceremony for this evening. We're going to start with a brief speech, and then we have some recognition that we're going to be providing to our members who have worked very, very hard this year. And all years, but we're focusing on this year. So thank you everyone for coming very much. It means a lot to me to have the entire squadron, our supporters, our family, friends, loved ones, all here to celebrate what we do on a voluntary basis for the United States Air Force, for Civil Air Patrol, and for our country and community. All right, so at this time, I just have a quick little speech that I would like to give, and then we'll begin the Of the Year Awards. We'll have a quick little announcement for that. Then we'll have the Cadet Awards. We're going to invite Colonel Bradfield and Colonel Hume to say a few words. And then we'll just go ahead and wrap things up and start the dancing. All right. So I'd like to start by talking to you tonight about why we do what we do. As some of you may be aware, my wife and I spent the Christmas season at Bay State Medical Center where my son, now 7 months old, contracted RSV, which is a virus that rendered him unable to breathe without assistance. Seeing my son on a ventilator was hard enough, but knowing that he had to spend his first Christmas hooked up to machines made it even harder. I say this not to depress anyone, but rather to set the stage for future events. Early in the hospitalization, I received a bevy of messages and support from Westover Composite Squadron. Numerous members came to visit, especially a group of cadets and parents who were kind enough to offer us food and comfort on multiple days. I had never seen such an outpouring of love and support in my life. Members who could have easily just sent a message decided to come by and spend hours giving us food, drinks, and company during our time of need. It was very touching. But these actions, again while touching, may not seem remarkable given the tightly knit nature of our squadron. What was remarkable was when my family woke up on Christmas Day to a bag of gifts given to us by a scrubbed-in Santa Claus. I opened the gifts with my wife and saw a gift I recognized. And another one. And another one. And I couldn't quite place where these gifts were coming from, and then it hit me. I realized that these were the gifts that our squadron received as donations during Operation Overload, an annual toy drive to benefit the Ronald McDonald House that we had held the previous weekend. During the entirety of Operation Overload, I never really stopped to think that the hard work of these members was truly bringing the holidays to families who would not otherwise have a reason to celebrate. I thought about how our squadron supports people in need, and I realized that that is why we do what we do. Of course, this extends to every other aspect of our program. Take cadet programs, for example. I'm lucky enough to have a dedicated team of adults who not only choose to work with teenagers, but choose to do so without any compensation. As a teacher myself, that makes me question their sanity sometimes. These members are at the meetings both long before and long after our official start and end times each Tuesday. They're in charge of meticulous planning, permission slips, paperwork, so much paperwork. They volunteer to drive our cadets halfway across the Commonwealth at the crack of dawn. And then we have the sections that support the cadet program. Communications staff changing around plans to accommodate ICUT radio training. Personnel, admin, PDO, keeping up with the growing number of personnel files and paperwork. The supply room takes hours out of the meeting day to assign items to cadets. And on their most stressful days, I'm sure sometimes they question if it's even worth it. However, we have former cadets in the United States Armed Forces, including a cadet in intelligence with the United States Army and in ammunition over at Elmendorf with the USAC. And if our cadets don't go in the military, that's fine, because we teach our cadets leadership that can be applied to any situation. It is because of our program that they excel in college or in the workforce. Cadet programs officers can look at the success of former cadets and the promise of our current cadets and realize that this is why we do what we do. We have our emergency services section that regularly lead on search and rescue exercises that take them from their families to train to save lives. They spend countless hours training, qualifying, re-qualifying, and working with other members who operate with professional precision. Our air crews learn complicated computer systems to be able to persecute an emergency beacon and work with law enforcement or other agencies to render aid to those in need. Most times, the beacon's a false alarm, being triggered accidentally by a child or being thrown away by a clueless owner. When a mission begins at 0300 and doesn't get out until 1900 hours after a false alarm, it's natural to question whether emergency services training is even worth it. However, even when a false alarm is silenced, it opens up that frequency so a true emergency can ring through loud and clear. When we find a beacon that could lead to saving a life, we understand that that is why we do what we do. Finally, our third mission, aerospace education. Our members plan lessons weeks in advance, spending their own money on supplies to provide a STEM-based education for our cadets. They're on the computer, on the phone for long hours, researching field trip opportunities, or arranging experiences that most young people don't even get to do, such as paying a visit to the Air Wing of the Massachusetts State Police, or meeting the Blue Angels in person. On their one day off, they wake up entirely too early to head to Barnes or Westover Metropolitan to supervise a day of orientation flights. And sometimes, all this work might not seem worth it. But when a cadet puts their hands on the yoke and smiles the smile of one who has slipped the surly bonds of earth for that first time, we realize that this is why we do what we do. I'm an avid supporter of Civil Air Patrol, which comes as a shock to no one, I'm sure. And I'll talk the ear off of anyone who asks about what I do when I'm not teaching English in Springfield. After I tell them what they do and what CAP is all about, I am invariably asked the same question. What do they pay you for all this? I smile and reply, nothing. I'm a volunteer who pays dues to support my organization. And they usually make a strange little face like this. And then the wording, thank you, the wording of the Inquisitor's challenge might change in here and there, but usually it takes the form of the following. Why would anyone pay to work an extra 10 to 20 hours a week, take time away from family and friends, and get nothing in return except for appreciation? It's moments like these that give me a clear answer. I look at the men and women in front of me, the most dedicated individuals I've ever had the honor of knowing. And I understand that this is why we do what we do. Thank you very much.